Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bad Movie Reviews. I'm your host, Benjamin, or Ben.
And I'm Braden, and we are going to be reviewing the Jurassic Park trilogy. Not the Jurassic World films, we're going to be just reviewing the first three Jurassic Park films.
Yes,
So we're
let
going
me
to
tell you.
start off with Jurassic Park, which is the first film, 1993, I think that was the
I think it
release.
was 1992. I forget.
It's one of the two. I feel like it is 93 though, because I believe it was 4 years for Lost World and then 4 years for Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. So it's probably 1993. Um,
1993. Okay, that's what we're gonna
um,
go with, even if it's wrong. um,
um, Jurassic Park was based off a book by Michael Crichton by the same name,
mhm.
because sometimes they do change the name of the movie from the book.
Yes, and this was directed by Steven Spielberg, who is one of my favorite directors because he just makes great films.
Most of the
Um,
time.
yeah, I mean, unless they're really bad, in which case then he makes bad films. It's by Universal, which is one of my favorite movie companies. So
Who
this
also
was
makes bad films sometimes.
who also make bad films sometimes. Correct, correct. This film, I remember this film really well. I watched all three of the films 2 years ago, I'd say, during the summer of, I guess, 2018 or something like that, 2019. And I watched all three of them pretty much at the same time, but I only remember this one.
And it's a pretty good reason, because the other two are fucking dreadful.
They're really not good. It was weird because when I watched them, I was like, I don't remember any of this. And it was so weird to me. I was like, I don't remember anything. I remember like the character what the characters looked like, but other than that, like everything was just I didn't remember it. But the first film I remember very well, and this is only my second time watching it. But I knew all the characters. I knew what was gonna happen. I knew who was gonna die. So I just tried to like look at it from different lens. And what I tried to do in this film, at least, was look at it through the lens of someone who yes has watched it before, but someone who is like trying to pick out each individual detail. So I was trying to figure out as much as I could about like how everything worked instead of just like taking it all in for the first time.
So
And
let's do a plot synopsis of the characters.
yeah, let's go ahead.
Alan Grant, just a guy
I
who
mean,
likes dinosaurs and hates kids.
yeah, hates kids. Alan Grant is one of my favorite characters, probably just because he does end up having a character arc. A lot of these bad films that we've been reviewing have people who just don't ever change, like
No, they
at
don't.
all.
They begin the film as an awful person. They end the film as a awful person. They don't change.
Right, but in this film, like, I mean, he wasn't even an awful person to begin with. He was actually a pretty nice person, but he grew into liking kids, um, and he becomes a better person because of it all.
Yeah, and then the next part I want to mention is Ellie Sattler.
And she is kind of like his
Love interest?
friend,
Question mark. Love.
friend.
Like we. By the time you get to the third film, it's questionable. But by the first film, it's kind of they were supposed to be it's supposed to be love interest.
Yeah, I don't like that move in the third film. It's definitely more realistic. I just don't like the move there. Um,
Um. Anyways, then we have Ian Malcolm, the
who
best character. The best character.
yeah, he's pretty awesome. Although I will say in the Lost World he kind of does take a little bit of a beating. I don't like him as
He,
much in the Lost World.
well, the reason is because he's obviously suffering PTSD.
Yeah, but like the whole film he's like out of commission.
Yeah.
At least to me. You have Samuel L. Jackson as a random guy. I don't even I don't even remember his
Okay.
name.
His in the book his first name was John, but they changed it in the movie because it's a bit hard to remember which John is which with John Hammond and
So what's his name in the movie?
I completely forget.
Exactly.
Just literally just call him Samuel L.
Yeah,
Jackson
Samuel L. Jackson.
or Mace Windu or whatever.
Maybe Nick Fury. Yeah. Uh,
Next character, Dennis Nedry, which is a very sad name for a guy for a guy like him.
it's a bad name. It's a bad character.
He's a bad person, but in the book he's much better explained. John Hammond in the book is an awful person, and it's made obvious that Dennis Nedry was being underpaid for how much work he was doing. Like in the movie is portrayed like he just wants more money. But in the book, it's portrayed like John Hammond is just underpaying him for how
Right.
much work he's doing.
From the book, John Hammond is considered just be a terrible person. In this film, he has the right idea about everything. He's a good person. He just doesn't really like this. Wasn't really a smart idea.
He doesn't understand the stakes of the situation.
Right. But he is a good person at the end of the day. Even in the second film, he's always portrayed as a good person.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively. I don't think he's in the third film.
He isn't in the third film. I think the actor died by then. If I'm not mistaken. I probably am mistaken.
He did seem kind of old in the second film, but
Um.
and John Williams did the score for at least the first one, probably all of them.
And then they misused the theme in at least the third film for random scenes, but I don't need to talk. We talk about that then. I forgot the name of the okay. Don't forget about Joffrey. He's important.
I did forget about Joffrey.
He's the guy who dies at the beginning. And
do I not?
He's the guy who gets eaten by the raptor and causes the entire film to happen.
Oh, the in the first
Candler.
scene. Is it in the first scene?
Yes, in the first scene, and then there's another character in the first scene whose name is slipping my mind. He gets he also spoiler alert, he dies.
And then I mean, also in Jurassic Park, I think one of the best parts about the film is that it is first of all the musical score, but also just like the fact that for me at least it felt like nostalgic, which was weird because again, like I said, I've only watched it twice, but for some reason it felt like really nostalgic to me.
The CGI is better than Ghost Rider. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, to be fair, Ghost Rider is a terrible film, and also like when you're working with when you see CGI in the early 90s and stuff, when it first started becoming like really like used, they used it very like conservatively. They were very like they weren't gonna like spew it all over the screen. They were going to use it in very small instances.
You know that scene when this is a future scene. The dinosaur escapes the pen and he starts doing all that junk.
Yeah.
They put a CGI model over a mechanical model. That's what they did.
Right, but
that's and the important thing is, it looks realistic because they have a one point lighting system. It's a lot easier to do a 1-point lighting system. It's harder when you have actual sunlight, because then you have to actually like have it bounce off all the other surfaces, and it's hard to make it look realistic. But you have 1 point, plus it's raining. It's a lot easier to make something look realistic.
Right, because your eyes are focused on other things anyway, so you're able to look at it from a different perspective.
But anyways, that's like halfway through the film. We're talking.
All right, why don't you do your little plot synopsis that you always do for the film?
So the movie begins with a character dying, and then which causes a lawsuit. And as Donald Gennaro puts it, this makes the investors very, very nervous, and then he falls. And then the lawyer guy, Donald Gennaro, is like, I got Ian Malcolm to basically come over and basically do a safety check, but the investors want Alan Grant.
So then Alan basically has to...
like, Alan Grant won't want to do it. He's like me. He's a digger. And then we cut to Alan Grant.
And he's busy doing an expedition, right? Isn't he like
he's doing an excavation.
Excavation. Sorry, he's trying to get dinosaur bones to look at and examine.
Yes, and then he's like, I hate computers. Blah, blah, blah.
Which he still does by the end of the film.
And then John Hammond comes in the helicopter, and his like dust comes, and like then they had to cover the fossils, and then Alan's pretty pissed because like, I'm doing something here, and then John Hammond freaking opens champagne, and he's like, yo,
hey yo, what up?
and then Ellie Sattler comes in, and is like, oh, who is the jerk? And this is a great scene because like after Alan tells her, "This is John Hammond, one of our investors." He's like, and she says, "Did I say jerk? It's great."
Did I say jerk? I meant, you're awesome.
And then the worst character trait of Alan Grant is he basically does anything if it involves funding a dig. He does.
You-
In the third film, in the third film, he knows nothing about about some characters, and he just goes with them, which is his mistake. But at least with John Hammond, he knows it's an investor.
Right.
So then he goes, and then they go, and then we meet Ian Malcolm, who's laughing.
Ian Malcolm, he is just kind of like just chilling, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a chaos theorist." That's all you.
And he's like, "Yo, what's up, my dudes?"
I'm a chaos
theorist. And then they get to the dinosaur park.
Right, they get to Jurassic Park, and
then we get to, and then freaking Alan Grant faints after John Hammond tells him that they have a T-Rex.
and then basically like they go and look at the dinosaurs and like, wow, that's so cool. So then they and they take a little Disney ride, a tour.
Mr. DNA will forever change how I say dinosaur.
How does he say dinosaur?
He says it like dinosaur, and I say dinosaur like dinosaur. I don't know why.
Dinosaur. And
then they leave the ride after they see the eggs and like, whoa!
Whoa, eggs!
And then we get one of the most iconic lines of the entire film: "Life
always finds a way." Yeah, life always finds a way.
No, he says life finds a way. He says
all right, yeah.
And then Henry Wu, who dies in the book, is a nothing character. He just like, "Yo, what's up? I do this stuff. Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye." And that's
they're all females. All right, bye.
And then which isn't important. That is in the book that they're all females because they don't want breeding.
Right. Which makes sense.
But okay. So then they go on the tour. It's great. The tour. They don't see dinosaurs, and the only dinosaurs they see is a sick Triceratops. Right. And Donald Gennaro's like, "No, don't get out of the car, no." Oh yeah, I forgot. The kids happen. I forgot about introducing the kids, but
right. So they're both John Hammond's grandkids, and basically they're pretty chill. One of them they both kind of scream a lot, but other than that, I mean, they're pretty chill.
I mean, the younger kids kind of just pisses me off sometimes.
Yeah, the younger kids.
Alan Grant's like, "Don't come this way," and then he's like, "Okay, I'm coming this way now," and everyone's like, "No."
But anyway, basically the kids go with Alan, and then bad things start happening because Nedry's like, "Oh shoot, I gotta steal embryos." So he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna put the whole place on lockdown. It's gonna be fine though. We're gonna be fine." And they're just like, okay.
He unelectrifies all of the gates.
Yes.
Which leads to the most iconic scenes ever.
Pretty much in cinema history, but even in Jurassic Park as well.
So they have to go. They're going back, and the only thing. Okay, so there's one part that doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. How do they get the cars turned around? Because they're on a track. So how do they get them turned around? That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me. Because they're on a track, and they go back. They go backwards to the T-Rex.
I don't know. Maybe they changed it up. Maybe the track ended at some point and then it went back.
Okay, maybe that probably is what happened, but that's like, but really you cannot ignore how awesome this next scene is. There's impact tremors in the water, and the way they did that was they put a guitar string underneath that water, and they plucked it, and it made the water shake.
And it also showed that, hey, crap, there's a T-Rex coming after us.
And then freaking the young, I forget their names. I forgot the young kids' names.
Me too. Oh my gosh.
But anyways, the older one in the book is the boy, but the older one in the movie is the girl.
Right, which I think works fine for the film.
But she's also a vegetarian.
Uh-oh.
And then she's like, "Where's the goat?" And then T-Rex like, tasty.
um,
Oh, and also, freaking Donald Gennaro just runs out, and Ian Malcolm just says, "When you gotta go, you gotta go." He runs to the toilet,
yeah,
and and guess where he dies?
in the toilet.
On the toilet. He gets
Yeah.
the T-Rex just like So the kids are now getting attacked because they were idiotic and they turn on a flashlight. And
and they couldn't
and then
even
and then
shut it off. It took them so long to shut off the flashlight.
like it's like they turned it on. Why can't they just turn it off? Like, anyways, the
Uh,
next the next the then Alan like takes out a flare and is able to like attempt to save them, but then Malcolm takes it too far and then he starts chasing him. And in the book, Malcolm dies.
wait, so how does the Lost World work?
The stories of my death were greatly exaggerated, is essentially what happened.
Wait, so he dies, but he doesn't die?
Yeah, like in the book, it's implied that he dies, but they don't actually ever show a body. So, Ian Malcolm's just like, "I'm here now." So, in the book, he technically doesn't die, but in the book, he dies. It's confusing.
In the book,
It's confusing. The
would have
original
died.
intention was for him to die, but in the movie, people they freaking hired Jeff Goldblum, so they didn't want Jeff Goldblum to die.
Good for
But
them.
anyways, Jeff Goldblum gets freaking shoved up in the air, and he gets flying, and then Donald Gennaro like, "That's horrible toilet design. Do not recommend." And then he dies. And in that, and also the car that had boy in it gets freaking tossed into a tree.
And the boy's completely fine, by the way.
He threw up. He threw up. He did say he threw up.
Yeah, that's. I mean, clearly that means he's gonna die. No, throwing up is like normal when you get thrown halfway across. I'm surprised he
the
lived.
only reason that the children didn't die was because
Tim, that's
Steven
his name.
Spielberg
Tim.
got a ton of back. Tim, you're right. The only reason that the kids did not die were because, well, in the book they didn't die, but if they made enough change, they probably could have made it happen. But when Steven Spielberg made Jaws, a kid died, and he got so much backlash for that, so much that he basically vowed in a film he'd never kill a kid again.
Yeah, so whenever you see a kid in a dress in just any film made by Steven Spielberg, you just know that they're just not gonna die.
Yeah.
So that's good for you.
Anyways, so then basically, so in that, the reason Ellie Sattler wasn't there was because she basically tended with the Triceratops a bit more since she's a paleobotanist.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't in that whole car chase scene. But then everyone's pretty much like, where are they? Like, what the hell happened? And also Dennis Nedry gets eaten.
Oh yeah, he gets eaten before all this, I think.
But in the book, they find his corpse.
Ooh. But in this, they find Samuel Jackson's
film,
corpse.
they in the next film they say 3 people died, which implies that they didn't find Nedry. Because 3 people died other than Nedry. So they didn't find Nedry.
Well, because... Is it, though? Did 3 other people die?
So we got Tracker, Samuel L. Jackson,
and Gennaro.
And Gennaro. So yeah.
But, wait, who's Tracker?
The guy who says clever girl. I forgot his name.
Oh.
So yeah.
They never found Nedry. I am still kind of mad they killed that guy off. I thought that he survived for some reason. I must have been confusing him with Alan Grant, but I really thought that he was gonna live.
He lives in the book.
Yeah, because he's kind
but
of.
But he dies in between. He dies in between Lost World and Jurassic Park.
I think he was a really cool character. I think that was a little bit of a mistake on their part to kill him.
Yeah, well, the way he dies is exactly how Alan Grant describes raptors. He said, Well, you are focusing on the one raptor. They won't attack from the front, but from the side. So that's exactly what happens to him.
Right.
It's great foreshadowing. It's fantastic.
Um,
And you only notice it when you rewatch it, like I did. Oh, unless you remember that. But
I
it's fine.
literally, yeah, no, I didn't remember that quote at all.
Okay, so we just still keep going back. We keep going forward. Okay, so um, Alan and the kids, they're on their way and they find eggs. And then and he says, and as Alan Grant said, well, some South um, African frogs are known to spontaneously change sex in a single sex environment. And like, I googled it. That's actually true.
Right.
So maybe they should have chosen bird DNA instead of frog DNA,
I know.
and this would have all been avoided.
I don't know where they were like, yeah, let's think of the one animal that can change sex at will. Oh yeah, the frog. Oh yeah. We should combine the DNA with that.
But we also gotta remember that John Hammond wasn't trying to create realistic dinosaurs. He was trying to create pop culture dinosaurs.
Right. I mean, what I was trying to think to myself, like, is this meant to be like a realistic like dinosaur movie? If you could even make it realistic. And from what I saw, this isn't particularly like it's not really meant to be a realistic film. It's kind of just meant to be like it's a fun film. Obviously, it's meant to be a
It's a
thriller, but
it's a realistic sci-fi film when you really think about it.
right, because I try to think about it like this way. I'm like, if this is realistic, then we can also kind of just say like stuff like Marvel is realistic. Because even though Marvel's not actually realistic, it is kind of realistic if you take into account certain things. Like,
Well, Thor, come on.
no, but that's what I'm trying to say. Is if you can pretend that like Thor exists, then Marvel as a whole is pretty realistic, at least compared to some of the comics. With Jurassic Park, it's like if you take into account that dinosaurs could possibly come back, then it's realistic.
Okay.
But
But
it's still
we
weird.
gotta get to the next scene where uh, Samuel L. Jackson's like trying to like get the phones and computers back online, but Dennis Nedry set up like a thing where if you put in the wrong thing 3 times, it shuts down on him and it just keeps saying, no, you didn't say the magic word. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, please.
Samuel L. Jackson should have just started swearing at it.
And then and then Samuel L. Jackson's like, no, I will not turn it off. I will not reboot the system. But John Hammond's like, people are dying. Please reboot the system.
And he was like, okay, fine.
And then Tracker guy's like, eventually he's like, Nedry was smart enough not to turn off the raptors. Because
Right,
when
because
the entire system, all the park systems turned off.
because for some reason the T Rex is less dangerous than the raptors.
Well, actually, they are more dangerous. Like the raptors are more dangerous. Like,
Well, because the T Rex you can outrun. You can technically outrun a T Rex if you really needed to.
but you can't outrun the raptors. They're smart, as we've seen in the films. They are smart.
It's always the raptors.
Yes, always the raptors. Like in Jurassic Park 3, you got the Spinosaurus, and he's like doesn't exist for a while, and then he comes back, and then he doesn't exist anymore. Like the Spinosaurus is one of the worst dinosaurs villains in the entire franchise. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Right.
Um, what we need to talk about now is, well, okay, so the Alan Grant finally gets back. It took him a while, but he finally gets back.
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson's dead.
Yeah, and then doesn't
They originally had a death scene planned for him, but unfortunately, the set got destroyed in a hurricane, which I find is very fitting for the film, where there's a hurricane in the film.
So they basically were just kind of like, oh, okay, goodbye, Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, but the off-screen death does work. I feel like if they had
Yeah.
that death scene, it would have like it would have fit. But without it, I feel like it actually kind of works better.
Right, because then it's like, oh, hi, Sam. Oh, what? Hi, Samuel L. Jackson. No, that's just a hand.
But then, finally, we in the last 30 minutes of the film, we get the raptors.
Right, and they're scary. They're really smart. They chase the kids around in like a.
They can open doors.
But for some reason they can't catch two kids. I don't know. The
But
raptors
the
are
best part
slacking.
is we hear Ellie say the one's trapped in the breakup room unless they can figure out how to open doors. Next scene, raptors opening doors. Ellie, you shouldn't have said that.
Ellie jinxed it. She's like, yeah, I mean, we're fine as long as they don't kill the kids.
Oh, and
then they kill
by
the
the way,
kids.
Ian has been saved already, and he's freaking just lying on the counter.
I mean, at this point, Ian is just dead inside. I don't even think he cares anymore. But it makes a lot of sense for his character in Lost World. So,
and I feel like he should have like after that leg injury, he should be like encountering like some leg problems.
but
I don't know, like in the book where he has leg problems in the Lost World book.
no,
Because-
it wouldn't make sense for the film. Honestly, I feel like in the Lost World, if he tried to if he had like problems, then I feel like it would just have been weird.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been as much of a badass. It would have been like, oh, okay, he's like dying.
Okay, so we got it. So then we got. Okay, I've been waiting to talk about this scene for the entire film. It's the kitchen scene, man. The kitchen scene's awesome.
Yeah, so the two raptors are like, oh, okay, we can open the door now, and then they start chasing the kids around in the kitchen. And it's just terrifying.
Okay, the only part I don't like about it is the raptors just freaking run into like a side of a cabinet because
They think they see the kids. It was good outsmarting though.
But then after they've done outsmarting the raptors, what the raptor that rammed itself into the counter just like watches them leave, is like, oh, okay.
Okay. I mean, honestly.
And also, don't forget that poor raptor in the freezer.
I mean,
like, what am I gonna do in here?
I mean, he was probably concussed anyway, so like.
But then they have to start running away from the raptors again because they get into the control room. Okay, the only scene. So then they get trapped inside the control room, and then boot up the door locks, and Tim's just running, bouncing around like he's pooping his pants while his sister's doing all.
Come on, hacker sister! I need you to to go faster.
Tim could have they were like Ellie and Alan were rammed up against the door. Tim's sister was doing all the work, and Tim was doing nothing. And they needed the gun. Tim could have given them the gun. Tim could have done that.
No,
he was doing nothing.
A child can't handle
He could
a
have.
gun. Come on. What is this?
Yeah.
Like regular times? We're.
But anyways, then they finally boot up the door locks, but then they have to start running again, and they get into the vents.
Right.
And I forgot to say, Alan's pretty sus. I saw him vent.
How dare he? How dare he vent?
But okay, so then finally, the
end of the film.
So then they get into like the main business center room,
yeah.
and then they get attacked by velociraptors and die. Anyways,
yep, the end.
And then, but actually, what happens is they're about to get pounced by velociraptor, and then the T-Rex is like, nope, and eats them.
And then John Hammond's like, crap, copter time. And then they all go into a helicopter. Hammond's like, oh, crap, maybe I shouldn't make a park, and that's pretty much the end.
It's a great, and then we get one final look at birds. Bet you'll never look at birds the same way again.
Yeah, birds are basically just dinosaurs.
9 out of 10, I gotta say 9 out of 10.
That's the rating for the film?
That's the rating for the film.
I thought this was your favorite film of all time. You've never found one.
It is my favorite film of all time, but I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I've never given a film a 10 out of 10.
I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10, but now I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 as well, because I do like films better than this one. But I figured that it was gonna be a 10 out of 10.
There are still better films, but okay, this is my favorite film. But I'm not going to say it is the best film ever. There are differences.
Right, well, this one has more of a value to you, but it's not, like, the best ever. I think I can agree with that. I like this film a lot. I would give it a 9 out of 10, but I just figured that we were going to give it a 10 out of 10 because it was your favorite.
Okay, it is time that we talk about the second film in the trilogy. and in the most mediocre film, I have to say.
It's definitely the middle ground here. The
It's
lost world. Something has survived. That's the tagline. I don't know. I don't think that's a really good tagline.
well, that's a bad tagline because they don't kill the dinosaurs on Isla Nublar. So
Yeah.
yeah, some in the book they killed them. In book they freaking blow up the island, but in this they don't.
This one's also directed by Steven Spielberg. Actually, they might all be. Are they
No,
all?
the third one isn't. The third one
Oh, of
isn't.
course it isn't. um, this one is directed
He,
by
he
Steven Spielberg, though.
um. So we got the Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm again,
Correct.
but he's not the freaking quippy guy who loves chaos theory. He's a guy who's sad.
Depressed Ian Malcolm. And then we have Ludlow, who's the main villain, I guess. He wants to
Sarah
open
Hart-
up a bad amusement park in San Diego called Jurassic Park, and we all know that's not going to work.
Then we got Sarah Harding, the love interest of Ian Malcolm, and the only reason he went to Isla Sorna.
Yep. He's like, oh no, my girlfriend. This is so sad. All right, time to go. This is a rescue mission.
This is no longer
his daughter.
a research operation.
He has a
It's
daughter.
a rescue operation, and he's like, and then John Hammond's like, okay.
Whatever you say, bub. And then he has a
We got
daughter.
Nick Van Owen, the most questionable character with questionable morals.
Then we got the daughter.
Kelly, who gets cut from the gymnastic team. Don't forget about that.
But is also like a god tier gymnast.
Gymnast. I mean, I'd love to see the other gymnasts in a
seriously, they must be just completely cracked out of their mind. If she's doing all of that.
Then we got Eddie Carr, and can you guess his occupation? Yes, he's a botanist. No, he's a mechanic.
Yes, he's a botanist. You guys got it. Yeah, no, he does mechanic things. He's pretty cool like that.
And he's like a freaking. He's a good person. Like, he's a genuinely good person.
And don't forget, Baby T-Rex, who is just so vital to the plot.
And don't forget about Mommy and Daddy T-Rex.
Who are even more vital to the plot. I don't know why I'm saying the baby is pretty important to the plot. I don't know why I'm saying that it's not.
But like, here's the thing about Mommy and Daddy T-Rex, okay? They give probably one of the best deaths in this entire franchise, and it's to a awesome and like a good person, and I hate that. It's awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
Okay, so now this film is gonna be easy to talk to because the plot can be summarized in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
There's not
all right, bet. All right.
Because like half of the film is just them running back and forth.
That is pretty true. I was getting a little bored. I didn't think this was a terrible film. I just kind of felt like I was getting kind of bored. But let's see if you can do it in 5 minutes. Your time starts now.
Okay, so Ian Malcolm is a guy who still says that he went to a dinosaur exhibit, and he saw dinosaurs in real life. But the important beginning is that this little girl gets attacked by compies, and then the mother sees her, and then she screams, and it's an awesome cut to Ian Malcolm just yawning. I love that cut. And then he gets like harassed by this, and then Ian Malcolm gets harassed by this guy who's making fun of him, and all these people are staring at him because they think he's an insane person. But then he's going to see John Hammond, who's telling him like, hey, there's a place called Isla Sorna, and like there's dinosaurs on it, and I want you to go examine it. But your girlfriend's already there because you wanted to go there, and now he's in now. But at first, Ian's like, no, I don't want to go. And now after hearing that his girlfriend's there, he's like, oh, I gotta go. And then but then this guy named Peter Ludlow was like, hey, no, I do everything now. I took over InGen. But then we get a cameo from the freaking kids from the first film. But that's all we see them ever again. That's the last time we see them. And then he goes to see Eddie Carr, and he's like, I can't get this all working. And I thought I had 3 days left. I didn't test them, which makes no sense, because you should test your equipment 3 days before you're supposed to go, because at that point, like, you have 3 days. In the book, it's like 3 weeks, so it's a lot more realistic. then they go to the island, and and then we learn that the islands are called the Five Deaths or whatever. So like that's the only reason that this happens is to like for plot reasons, so that they don't have an easy way off the island. But then they get on the island, and then they find Sarah Harding just photographing dinosaurs. And then she runs out of film, and then a baby stegosaurus like freaking screams, and then the freaking adults are like, "You did what?" And then she gets attacked. And then they find out that Kelly stowed away on their.
That was so dumb.
And then Ian gets freaking pissed off. Like, why the hell are you here? I told you not to go. And she's like, you told me not to listen. She's like, I. Come on. So she came, and then they were trying to get the way off, but the satellite phone isn't working. And then in the next film, the satellite phone works everywhere. So then they have to. So then they freaking sabotage InGen, who's trying to like grab dinosaurs for their park. And then by doing that, they took away the communications, and then Nick Van Owen like freaking grabs a baby T-Rex who has a broken leg and brings it back to the park. And then Ian Malcolm's like, "What the hell, man?" So then they're all there, and then they freaking get the and then they get the T-Rexes, and then they get the baby T-Rex all sorted out and fixed. But then the two T-Rexes come to like, "I want my kid back." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll give you your kid back." And then they're like, "Thanks, now I'm going to kill you." And then they freaking yeet them off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And then a car's like, "Oh, I gotta help them." And then he freaking saves their life. He gives them the rope. But then they're like, "Hey, can you give us some cheeseburgers?"
Oh no.
That's not even me joking. They actually asked for cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I remember that part. That was so dumb.
And then Eddie's like, "What the fuck? I'm trying to help you. You just ask for cheeseburgers." So then he freaking saves their lives. And then he's in his car like freaking trying to get them off the cliff because they're still falling. So then he does that, and then the two T-Rexes come to like, "Hey," and then they freaking grab him and tear him in half, which is an awesome death. Boy, freaking god tier character who's a nice person.
Yeah, he's one of the best characters in the entire film, honestly.
Like he has good morals. He's a good person, and they do him like that.
All right, you have 30 seconds. Summarize the rest.
Okay, then they go on a trip, and then Dinosaur kills more people, and then guy who likes to injure compies gets eaten by compies, and then big T-Rex gets dranked and taken back to mainland, and then big T-Rex goes on rampage.
And then they use the child to lure the T-Rexes back. Then they kill the T-Rexes, right?
No, they don't kill the T-Rex. They bring them back to Isla Sorna.
Oh yeah, I totally remember that part. I guess I must not have been paying attention because I thought that they died. That's actually we did well.
But Peter Lolo gets eaten.
I mean, yeah, we pretty much summarized the whole thing in 5 minutes. So good for you.
Well, I didn't summarize how like the Velociraptors attacking them again in like the exact same way that they attacked them
in the first film.
Like with the Velociraptors, they're so unoriginal.
Honestly,
and I summarized that horribly, but you basically all the things you need to know. Nobody else dies. Like there's like
a couple deaths.
Other than Eddie Clark, nobody of the good guys dies.
Like, which is kind of weird considering most of the people
they could have killed freaking Nick Van Owen after he called them. Like the Velociraptors could have gone after him. He's not in the rest of the film. He could have died. Like he was literally only in the film to basically say, "Haha, I stole bullets," so they couldn't kill the T-Rex. But okay, so then and then when the T-Rex goes on a rampage, he only kills like a dog and a poor guy, and one guy who gets trapped outside. That's all he kills. Like you would have expected him to kill.
Oh yeah, don't they? Yeah, they literally kill a dog, right?
Yeah, he gets they kill a dog, and it's debatable if he killed a family. Like we don't know if he did, but like he could have. He could have killed that family.
So he killed a kid. Steven Spielberg. How could you?
He didn't show it on screen, so it's Okay, I think I can say that Ian Malcolm in this film is just there. He's not. He's not. He. Like a knockoff Alan Grant gets eaten after a snake falls into his thing. Um. And then Ian Malcolm comes in like 5 seconds later, like, "Yo, what's up?" Like, how did he not get eaten?
um, because he's a main character. If they were
Yeah,
to kill him off,
he has
then
plot armor.
yeah, if they were to kill him off, then I mean, no one would want to watch the rest of the
Okay.
film.
So the next film, I have a lot more complaints about who dies because, like, come on, next film.
But in this film, I
Like
mean, I would.
50, let's just say, okay, so we got bald tracker guy who wants to kill a T-Rex
We have
with
Eddie Carr.
with his friend who goes with him everywhere. And then he's super sad when he dies. So it might be a coded. It might be, who knows? Like, that was
Ooh,
a vet.
it's coded. Ooh, oh, I know what that means. Uh-oh. But it's the 90s. They couldn't possibly.
I mean, have you seen Friends?
Well, but to be fair, Friends was very stereotypical. So
Good point.
it still wasn't great for the time. Actually, no, it was good. No, wait, no. It was good for the time. It's not good for today. If they did a thing like the lesbian couple in Friends, you would never, ever, like, it would probably get canceled, honestly, because it's just so, like, stereotypical.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way.
We should review.
Four out
We
of
should
10.
review the entirety of Friends. That would be just terrible.
4 out of 10. I give this film a 4.5 out of 10. 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I can't choose.
I'm
So
gonna
I'm
I'm gonna
four.
give it a 5. We're gonna make it a 5.
Okay,
I
fine,
don't think this is
fine.
complete garbage. I think there's redeemable qualities in this film, and
But
I
this was I just realized that we reviewed this for a much shorter amount of time than the other film. It's not the film's fault. It's just I didn't have a lot to talk about this film because
they
it
tried.
may be
No, but they tried with this
it
film.
was about the same length as the other film, and I'm gonna have a lot to talk about in the freaking shortest film of the franchise. Like, seriously, it it's like the third film was only an hour and a half. And I have a
Yeah,
lot to talk.
I was like, I watched
I
that
was so
today.
bored, and when I figured out it was only an hour and 32 minutes, I was like, how? It confuses me that the third film was only an hour and 32
I
minutes.
mean, when I went to watch it like today, because I was like, crap, I still have one more film to watch. Because I thought there was only two for some stupid reason, and I'm like, oh, I'm all good to go. And that like, at like 9 o'clock, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a third film. So then I had to quickly watch the third film, and I'm like, oh god, it's
Believe me,
gonna be
I watched
two
the third
hours.
film today, and it was the longest experience of my life.
Um, but yeah, the second film, again, yeah, I think we're gonna rate it a 5. But it wasn't like they tried. They definitely tried in this film. I think
We
it wasn't terrible.
we I may have explained the plot pretty quickly.
But that
Like,
was kind of
I didn't talk about how
you didn't really miss a
I
lot
didn't
though.
I didn't talk about how Kelly freaking kicks a velociraptor into a spike, or um Sarah Harding almost gets eaten by a velociraptor but is saved by a lucky pack for the
Oh,
second time in the
do we
film.
want to talk about that guy who kept getting like attacked by what are they, compies? Is that what they called?
Yeah, compies.
But
He
he like
gets
keeps like walking backwards. Like he keeps like just like facing them. He's like ah, and then he starts running a little bit, and he stops, and he's like ah, and he keeps running a little bit. That was
and then he
dumb.
dies.
He could have literally escaped. If that was me, I would have been able to escape.
Oh,
Honestly.
but the only reason he didn't survive was because Carter was just listening to music too loud.
Oh wait, what? My friend's dying? Oh, too bad. I'm listening to some sweet music.
Anyways, we also didn't talk about how Sarah Harding freaking takes a velociraptor out by taking out roof panels.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't
And
know what was happening. I'm like, is she gonna throw them? Is she gonna like? But then like,
well, she was
hold up.
dropping them on the other guy, and then she's like,
Screw it,
"Lol."
and then just trips him up. um,
But okay.
but yeah, the
And
lost
then
one wasn't
and then
terrible,
they
but
get back to San Diego, and the only people that are in the film for the rest of them are for the rest of the film that are named are Peter Ludlow, Ian Malcolm, Sarah Harding, and Baby T Rex.
right. Although the kid is named Benjamin, I think.
What?
Yeah, I read the transcript because I didn't have subtitles, and I was like, I want to be able to know exactly what they're saying. Pretty sure in the transcript his name's Benjamin. You can look it up.
It's a stupid name for a dinosaur.
No, not the dinosaur, the kid.
What kid?
The kid!
What
In
kid?
San Diego. Remember the kid?
Oh yeah.
His name is Benjamin.
Oh yeah, the kid who's... It's debatable if he was eaten by a T-Rex after his parents freaking screamed when they saw him.
And the
dog,
dog,
like, it's the stupid fish tank.
And the dog is also
there's
called
no
Rex.
And then they see the freaking T-Rex and they're like, Curb Your Enthusiasm theme plays.
I think that's gonna do it for Lost World, though.
Okay, and just remember to like and subscribe. If you're this far into the video, I'm surprised if you aren't.
If you've watched this far, honestly, you should probably just like and subscribe, yeah. But we'll plead with you one more time before the video's over, trust me.
I just want to be honest here. The fact that you're this far into the video is so surprising since all you see is a freaking poster.
Yeah, it's basically just a podcast, I'm being completely honest. I might actually end up trying to, like, have visuals and stuff, but I mean, let's be honest. No, I'm not. Alright, anyway.
Next film.
Let's go on to Jurassic Park 3.
They didn't even try. They just named it Jurassic Park 3. At least they gave a subtitle for this one. They weren't even, like, trying.
And
welcome to Jurassic Park 3.
This film sucks. I finally was able to get a poster. And the poster has a pteranodon. Pteranodon? Is that how you pronounce it? Pterodon? A
Tyrannosaurus?
No, it's a pterodon, like a pterodactyl.
Pteranodon,
that's it.
Are you talking about a pterodactyl?
A pterodactyl. Yes, I'm talking about the pterodactyl.
There's a P in there.
Yeah, but it's not pronounced that, obviously. Yeah, and then it has a 3, but in a scratch mark. Cause get it? Dinosaurs. Haha, get it. Anyway, Jurassic Park 3.
I hate it. I love it, but I hate it. It has everything that we have ranted about in all the other films that we talked about. Bad writing, bad directing, bad camera angles, bad writing. Like, it's everything.
Bad writing. It's also got bad writing in it.
Yeah, it does. It also has really bad writing, you know?
Yeah. Hey, look, it's Cooper. Yes, it is.
Look. Oh, it's Cooper. Alan.
I kind of feel like the executives just kind of were like, we gotta make another one. Like, Lost World made a lot of money. Let's just make another one.
Oh, don't forget about the dream sequence where there's a freaking talking dinosaur. And it's not even a dinosaur he had seen yet. That Velociraptor was later in the film. The only Velociraptor he's seen is the one from Jurassic Park.
Hey, Alan.
Alan, wake up. Oh, don't forget about that horrible, like, camera angle where he's mad at the Kirby's for trying to land and he gets knocked out in first person.
Ooh. And they just fades out.
When I watched that film, okay, I wanted one of the Kirby's to die. I was like, when are they gonna die? And they never died. There was none of the Kirby's died.
Well, they weren't gonna be able to kill off the kids.
Were the nothing characters. The characters that had horrible morals. Like, all of the characters had horrible morals, except for Alan Grant and Eric.
Well, yeah, Eric's a kid, but...
Like, Billy, this fucking kid named Billy, like, is just...
an idiot.
Horrible. He's horrible. I hate Billy.
I don't even know why he went with him in the first place.
Like, I guess we needed another character?
Question mark? We need another character?
There's so many characters in this film, like, there was one good gag. There was one good gag that I liked.
Hey, Cooper.
And that gag was like close to the end of the film. But I'll talk about it when we get to that. But we got when I talked about Jurassic Park, I talked about how if someone was gonna fund a dig, Alan Grant would just go with them, and he has never met the Kirby's in his life.
But he's like, wait, you'll fund my dig?
So you're funding my dig.
All right, I'll come with you. No force on heaven or earth could make me go to that island. You're funding my dig? Oh, bad. I'm leaving first thing tomorrow.
And then and they couldn't bring Ian Malcolm back. So they brought the person who hasn't been on that island with them. Ellie Sattler didn't. They didn't approach Ellie Sattler. They didn't approach Ian Malcolm. They didn't approach anyone who was from the first film. They approached Alan Grant, who was a paleontologist.
Sounds about right. Seems like it'll be fine. Yeah, he totally was on Isla Sorna. Is that what it's called? Isla Sorna?
Yeah.
Yeah, he totally was on that one. He wasn't on the other one. New Blood.
And I'm just like, why?
But you wrote that book, man.
Why did you? Oh, and also the Currys hire these mercenaries. It was later revealed that they aren't mercenaries; they're just travel booking agents. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
The whole thing was kind of.
It doesn't do any bearing on the plot that they're travel agents. The only thing that matters to the plot is that literally all three of the mercenary guys die.
Which
they.
Yeah.
They aren't important. They aren't. They just are there for a number of deaths in the film.
I mean, you have
and
to kill people off, though,
in this
Jurassic Park.
Is 3. There are 3 deaths in this film, and they are just the mercenaries.
I mean, at this point, Alan Grant might as well just keep going back to the island. It's not like he's gonna die. Didn't he, like, almost get trampled by one, but then he just, like, survived?
He almost got eaten by velociraptors, but then Eric comes and is like, come with me. Oh wait, there's 4 deaths in this film. I forgot about the nothing character from the beginning, Benjamin Harrison or whatever his name is.
Benjamin, that's a U.S. president. Benjamin Harrison. That's not his name. He has a weird last name, but I don't remember.
It makes sense why he's just a skeleton after 8 weeks.
That was dumb. I'm like... First of all, how is the kid surviving for 8 weeks?
And then wife Kirby's like screams because it was her boyfriend, and then she doesn't care for the rest of the film.
Yeah, like she wasn't even screaming because of that. It must have been a bad
relationship.
She was just like, oh yeah, I'm just sad for Eric. Like, bro, imagine being Ben right now.
Okay, so we gotta talk about the fucking Spinosaurus Rex.
Honestly, I kind of thought it was a T-Rex the entire time. I didn't even know it was a different one until you told me. Maybe I just didn't pay attention at all.
He killed a T-Rex.
I guess I didn't pay attention to this film, like, at all, because I thought it was another T-Rex. But...
It doesn't matter that it's not a T-Rex, except for the Jaws reference in the film.
No, I'd never watched Jaws, so I wouldn't know the reference.
Well, we have to watch the Jaws franchise eventually, because freaking Jaws 3D and Jaws 4, The Revenge.
The Revenge.
What is it with Spielberg films that don't need sequels getting sequels that are bad?
I thought Jaws 2 was okay. Didn't people say that one was okay?
Well, you know what else was okay? The Lost World. And after the second one, it just goes to shit.
Yeah. It's like, they should just stop it for the Lost World, honestly. I don't understand what the purpose of this film was. Because it's an hour and a half long. So, production time must have been really quick. Second of all, like, it was made 4 years after the second one. So, it was also just kind of like, I mean, the interest in the series must have been, like, slowly declining. And also, like, the third thing is that, like, Ellie Sattler's in the film, but she's barely in the film.
She's literally only there because her husband works in the State Department. Don't forget that her husband works in the State Department. It's important to the plot.
Also, how come they're not married? Like, they literally basically teased that they were, and then, like, they weren't.
Oh, is she? Like, in the first film, she's like, is she taken? And he's like, and
yes.
Alan Grant is personally offended. They were together, and freaking...
At the beginning of the film, they totally could have made it so that way they were married. It literally, that's what it felt like.
But the only reason not together is so that Ellie Sattler had a connection to the State Department. They could have done the reverse and have her friend work in the State Department. It would have worked, but they had to make it that her husband worked in the State Department.
Do they even, like, break up at the end of the film?
No, they're still together at the end of Jurassic Park. It's an off-screen breakup.
Right, because don't they end up dating at, like, by the World films? Or am I stupid?
You're stupid. They're not even in the World films.
No, they're in the Dominion one. They're in the new one that's gonna come out.
Oh yes.
So,
I don't know,
So
man.
they're probably gonna be like married or something. No way would they bring those two back and not be like, hmm. Remember that third film where Ellie Sattler wasn't
They're
married to...
probably gonna retcon that third film. They're gonna act like it didn't happen because nothing in that film makes any sense when you just think about it too hard.
Right, because it doesn't. Because this film is kind of bad.
Like, how the hell did Billy not die? I wanted Billy to
He
die.
was
Like,
like
Billy
he was a
could
doormat.
have
He was literally a doormat.
Billy. Billy isn't just a doormat. Like he
He's literally
died.
he's like the
He's
stupid guy
like
from
it
Indiana
was. It would have
Jones.
been. It would have actually added something to the movie if he died because Alan, the last thing he said to him was, Billy, no. But the thing he said, the last thing he said to him was, you'll know better than the people who built this place. But okay, we'll go with the fact that that's the last thing he said to him.
But Billy was basically just like the other guy from Indiana Jones. The other one you called a doormat.
Um,
Forget his name.
is Indiana Jones Jr.
I guess, yeah, because they're the same. But Henry Jones the Third is actually his name.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the worst part about this film, it could have been good.
There was potential here.
There was potential. It could have been interesting to have Alan Grant come to Isla Sorna and just be forced to go there.
But they should have given him the same PTSD that Malcolm had. I feel like he really just didn't care.
Yeah.
It felt like he was just kind of like, oh yeah, like, cause he went on the island because of, oh, you're gonna find my dig? I'll bet. All right, I'm leaving tomorrow. Like, that was so dumb. It should have literally been, oh my god. Perfect idea. Perfect idea, and it would have worked. What? Everyone from the first film, I mean, Malcolm, Sadler,
Dennis Nedry.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson.
They're all alive on the island. And he has to go on a daring rescue mission to save them. But then all of them die.
He has to save Charlie.
But all of and all of them die except for Sadler. And that's the end of the film.
Including Charlie.
Including the kids die. You got Tim and Lex.
We did not explain who Charlie was. Charlie is Ellie Sattler's son that he had with State Department dude.
Definitely not Alan's kid. Definitely not.
She totally isn't cheating a State Department dude with Alan Grant.
I mean, come on, dude. He knew too. He was just like, "Oh, I'll let you guys catch up." Stupid State Department dude.
Okay. So I said I had more to talk about, and there is something else I need to talk about.
Okay.
So, Eric saves Alan Grant from almost being eaten by velociraptors.
Right.
And he has T-Rex pee in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan Grant's like, how the hell did you get that? And Eric's like, you do not want to know. I'm like, I want to know. How the hell did you get that T-Rex pee without dying?
You don't want to know. You just found a dead T-Rex carcass. Just like, oh, quickly.
He freaking milks him.
Quickly.
But then he hears his father's ringtone, and he's like, over there. And coincidentally, he is over there, but it's coming from the Spinosaurus' stomach. And that's actually a good gag. I like that gag because it was funny. It makes no sense that they could hear it from that far since it was inside of a stomach, but it was funny.
Right.
And that's the only good thing I can say about the film, because Billy is a freaking idiot and he steals velociraptor eggs so he can sell them on the black market.
Good job, bro. I'm so proud of you. He's finally making a living.
No, it was Ben Hildebrand. That was his name.
Yeah, Hildebrand.
It's not Matt Hildebrand.
No, it's Ben Hildebrand.
Yes. And then of course we have to talk about somehow, after being caught in a tree, that parachute still works.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine, man. It's plot device.
They're in an aviary, and freaking Eric gets freaking captured by birds.
By birds.
And,
You will never
and
look at
Willow's
birds
like,
the same.
I better save you, and then he saves him. They're not actually birds.
Honestly, they should just call this bird park. Bird park. You know,
Okay.
Tim be like,
And okay, and we also have to talk about the unofficial sequel to Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic Park, on Amazon Prime Video.
oh my god. Wait, was I supposed to watch that?
No,
oh, okay.
you weren't.
Alright. I'm like, oh god.
Okay, I'm gonna give this a freaking 2 out of 10 because I hate it.
The weird part is this isn't even one of the worst we've seen. Like, the holiday special sucked. Ghost Rider was terrible. Indiana Jones 4 was okay, actually.
But I had fun watching.
I had fun watching this too.
I had fun watching Ghost Rider because of Nicolas Cage's
god awful acting.
Like, it was funny. It was funny to watch. It wasn't like
Daredevil was
just dreadful.
stupid.
This was dreadful.
Right.
And that's why I give it a 2 out of 10. It's not. It had a good actor in it. Sam Neill.
Yeah.
And
they had Laura Dern as well, but she wasn't really in it that much.
They botched it.
Well,
it was like going to the cheap plastic surgeon and expecting to get the best results.
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I think it was maybe a little better. I had fun watching it, but
I had no fun watching that. And I'm not gonna have fun watching these next films because we're watching the entirety of the Sharknado series.
How many are there?
It's 6.
Oh dear God. How about we should do a 2-parter. We should 1 week watch 3, and then the next week watch 3, unless they're like really short.
I think they're like an hour and a half each.
Because I don't want to do like a mega episode, you know. It could be fun to do like
this was essentially my limit, man. I could not watch more than 3, so I guess
we can watch 3. So we'll do a 2-part season finale, and then we're gonna have to try to come up with something big for season 2. I don't know. We're gonna have to think of some great
How about
movies.
The Room?
Perfect. That's a perfect way to do it. All right. So that's what we're gonna do.
Season 2 opener is gonna be The Room.
So basically, what we're gonna try to do for every season is try to watch one good film at least, just to help us keep us sane. And that was Jurassic Park. Maybe watch.
But we could not handle ourselves. We watched the entirety of it, and we shouldn't have done that because Jurassic Park was great, and Jurassic Park 3 was not.
Right, but it balanced itself out. In the end, Jurassic Park itself was kind of a mediocre film series, but it had one really good film, one mediocre film, and one bad film. So
and
honestly,
it was also that's all. And it's great that the rankings are also the order that they came out.
Right. I mean, that's how most films are. Sometimes it just gets worse and worse with every sequel.
But we gotta remember that the Harry Potter series of films are like they are pretty okay.
I mean, yeah. Despite making like 8, right? Isn't there 8?
The 8 and
actually
like,
no, there's 10 now. There's 10.
That
now.
is not. We are not watching them soon though. Like there's 8 of them.
We should watch Crimes of Grindelwald. That one sucks.
Yeah, but
I hated that film. Okay.
I hated it too, and like.
Well, anyway.
I hate J.K. Rowling.
Yeah,
okay?
me too.
I'm gonna say that. I feel like I feel like that's not a very controversial thing.
No, she's just not a very good person.
Like whether you like hate her because she's a transphobe, or you hate her because she freaking just changes her books and acts like they've always been that way. And I hate it for both those reasons.
All right. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to us rating Jurassic Park and then a quick rant on J.K. Rowling. So next week we're going to watch the first 3 Sharknado films. The week after that we're going to watch the next 3 Sharknado films. And then season 1 will be over. But don't worry, because unlike normal TV shows, we just keep going. So even though season 1's going to be over, we're just going to go right into season 2.
We're going to watch The freaking Room.
Which should be fun. It should be fun.
I did not hit her. I did not.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Freaking Tommy Wiseau is like on another level in that film, but we'll watch it when we get to it.
All right. Anyway, make sure to like the video. We've already begged for that once, but I told you we're gonna do it again.
And
Make sure to
also,
like the video.
if you don't subscribe,
I've
you will have
actually
bad luck for 5 years.
I've actually found out that 100% of the audience is they're just not subscribed. So if you do want to subscribe, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, even though you probably don't actually have to because we post pretty much every week. But
every okay, we try to post every Monday, but sometimes
I always
Brayden
forget
forgets to,
Yeah.
and he posted on Wednesday.
I will get it out between Monday and Wednesday. That is always my guarantee. I have never once posted on a Thursday. Or
You haven't.
yeah, it will happen at some point. We'll be doing the Saturday video, and I still have to post the other video. No, I'm pretty decent at getting it out between a week. I mean, considering it actually takes like sometimes a really long time to edit these because I'm really bad at editing. I'd say I do.
And we have an hour, and this is a good hour-long video because we talked about 3.
Oh yeah, this is gonna take 10 years to render, so it might not even be able to be posted on Monday, even if I wanted to. But I will do my best to post this on Monday. But we do post every week. I mean, at some point during the week. So if you don't want to hit that notification bell, I completely understand because there's not really a reason to.
Our content is not the best.
Yeah.
We try our best.
We try our best. Anyway,
we tried to get our friend to edit this for us because he knows how to edit, but he said no.
He said no, so now I have to do it all. Anyway, be sure to comment down below too any good or bad films we should review because we'll probably get to them at some point. Especially a good film. We need probably a good film for season 2. So if someone has that would be awesome because I honestly have no idea what we're gonna do. Anyway, that's it. You have any closing remarks?
Get paid, get laid, Gatorade.